Hi everybody, welcome to another Live with Chaudhry here in New Orleans at ISCT 2025. Now, I'm delighted to be catching up with a fellow South Londoner, Salimullah, who I found out just used to live down the road from me. And actually he's from 4Bio Capital, but was formerly at Novartis. And I've just heard off camera that he's got a new business as well, so we can learn about that. So he's actually been speaking here this week. And as someone who's in the investment side, I thought it'd be really interesting to get his views on this event and the trends going on. So Tay, first of all, Assalamu alaikum, how are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm very, very good.
I am absolutely delighted to meet a fellow South Londoner in the midst of New Orleans. You wouldn't make that story up.
Exactly.
Right, so here's the gig. So I was formerly at Novartis Gene Therapies. The punchline is we were overseeing the global scale of Zolgensma, and very proud, unashamedly, that got to 5,000 babies worldwide. We took gene therapies to no other countries where gene therapies had been before, and we treated in 55 countries and returning over 6 billion back to Novartis. And most recently, since I've left my corporate life or late stage life at pharma, I'm doing a day a week for 4Bio Capital. I'm doing a raise for a Scottish-based company trying to solve brain cancer called Trogenix. We're trying to raise 60 million in a Series A. I'm also a fellow at ARM. And I'm currently an operator and investor running my own company called Renovamen Advisory.
Brilliant. Well, look, you're the perfect man then for some of the questions I want to ask you then. So, first question that I'm going to ask you is, what do you think of the show this year, though? What's your feedback in terms of ICT 2025?
So, I think location-wise, great. I love the fact that people who are speaking and who are intimately engaged can just hop over across the road and you don't have to catch transport. Excellent. I think the overall, what I've always liked about this meeting is the types of topics that they're trying to elevate and stay relevant, right? What do I mean by that? I've just come off a panel, which is how can we scale and get these therapies worldwide?
Yep.
But we're dealing with a polarity right now where the mood music in the markets isn't great, both in the United States and across. There's a lot of uncertainty.
100%.
But being mission driven, I would say, in the sense that making sure that patients who get hope and get access to these continue. I think there's an opportunity here to take advantage and be in a sort of a sunrise scenario rather than this doom and gloom and sunset.
Right, and as someone who's involved in the funding side, where do you think people fall down in terms of looking for investment, and what do you look for when you're looking to invest in companies?
Excellent. So having had a lived experience as an operator, building out not only a gene therapy company by Novartis, but also the first approved cell therapy, Kymriah. What I've witnessed is there are three things really, right? Number one, how can you start with the commercial end in mind? Number one. Number two, how can you choose a pathway to the clinic that's going to save timelines or shave millions? Because investors have money that they've allocated and there needs to be a stewardship of that resource. The number three, I think why ISCT exists and all these is we want to get these therapeutics to patients.
Yeah.
So what I'm starting to see and what I think we need to double down on or over-index is not only the science and the regulatory approvals, but does the commercial model work? Can this be monetized? And I think that is the inner dialogue and the question investors are asking right now.
Okay, and having been at the conference this week, were there anything else which stood out for you in terms of themes or topics that you found particularly interesting?
Yeah, I think a couple of things stood out for me. Number one, the immense progress that's going on. Look, there's two things that make or break this business. One is the upstream COGS manufacturing, the CDMO side of things. If you haven't got a product, you haven't got a company. Downstream is the commercial model and access. So as I said, look, I'm very happy that the ISCT is leaning in and elevating the topic of, let's say, now my dear friend Phil Vanek, who's been appointed as the chief commercial guy, is elevating these topics in a plenary session, number one.
Yep.
Number two, I think the aspect of decentralization of manufacturing, getting countries beyond the United States on board, and really the potential of these monogenic and prevalent diseases making their way and getting access to these treatments is going to be critical. So I love the amount of innovation going on. I know the sector is going through a blip and the mood music isn't great, but I think collectively being a mission-driven community of people, hopefully we can continue to elevate our game and get these therapies around the world.
Right, well, I was going to ask you one final question, was to say, what's your final word for the industry? But I think you sort of said that actually in your last sentence.
Stay in the sunrise scenario. I know there's a bit of a sundown ecosystem around us. Stay in the sunrise scenarios, keep investing, and believe in the transformative impact that these can cure the disease, halt the disease, or change the natural history. And I think that's why we all went to medical school.
All right, well, Tay, it's lovely to meet you, my friend. Inshallah, we'll meet again in the not too distant future. So viewers, if you've got any comments to what Tay has said, put them in the comments below this video. I'm sure Tay would love to hear what you've got to say. And if you'd like to learn more about Tay's businesses, I'll put the links above the video so you can learn more about that as well.
And you owe me a curry in Tooting.
I would love to take you out for Tadavat, man. So look, Tay, stay where you are. Don't fill the camera now with your face. But viewers, until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.